Peace, positivity, love, and prosperity. This is the We Are the 99 podcast. It's your boy, Casa Cannabis. And today, man, I have a very special guest. Who do I have with me today?
Jeffy Obvious, CEO and founder of the Cigar.
TGC, man, the goodest cigar. So we were just having a quick conversation right now before we started it, man. But, for those that don't know, what is the goodest cigar?
The Gutter Cigar is an event management company, but over the years it kind of turned into a one-stop shop for all things. I don't even know how you would word it.
The way I'd say is, or what I've been seeing, it's like a music event and like a small vendors event, you know?
Yes,
people that have their own merchandise, their own brands, artists, you know, I've been seeing it. Like I mentioned to you, the last event that I went to was the one you had at Rollerama. Mm-hmm. And before that, you've actually had a couple of other events in Oxnard, right? I believe Fresh Mix?
Oh, yeah. I've done events in 26 states in the U.S.
26 states in the U.S. And how did you get started with that?
I started doing the music thing myself and honestly just picking up game from watching promoters and how they would move, and just kind of implementing it into everything that we do. So, yeah, it wasn't intended to be, as frequent. It was shows would be something that we'd just kind of roll out here and there. Mm-hmm. But once it started being like an actual contributing factor to the scene, like we just had to keep it going. And since then, it's just opened more doors than I can count,
Yeah, and so what was like your first event that you had?
The first event that I ever threw was probably around 2010. 2010? In Simi Valley. I worked with like a young Self-Provoked. I think Self-Provoked was just coming onto the scene at the time, and you know what I mean?
Shout out Self-Provoked. I ended up going to one of his shows out here at Jerry's Pizza. It was Self-Provoked. And then another small world incident, Thesis.
Oh, dope.
Yeah, bro, because I tripped out when you had a Thesis on Facebook. You know, I was like, what the fuck? I was like, there this motherfucker is. Because I remember him from that show, bro. This motherfucker was lit. And I just lost contact with him for years. And then I ended up seeing you reposting one of his videos. I was like, that's that motherfucker from the show, you know? Yeah. On a high note.
Shout out to Thieves, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, it came up in that era when all those cats were on their way up, the Self-Provokes, the Foras, the Reveries. Like, that's when I came onto the scene when everybody else was just barely getting their feet wet as well. So it's really dope to see where everybody...
What's so crazy is that fucking day flew by quick, didn't it? Mm-hmm. God damn, bro. I remember being fucking young, bro. Like, fresh out of high school. And I, so into music. Because, during, middle school and high school, I used to work selling Chicano rap and oldies. And then this new scene was just something brand new. It was something fresh, bro. It was like Chicano rap, but with more of a hip-hop style, less game banged out. It seemed pretty dope, pretty relatable. And just seeing what it turned into now, I fucks with it. You know, they paved the way later on down the way, but they sure did. You know, so I like seeing that.
Yeah.
And so, how young were you when you first started getting into this?
Well, as far as making music, I've been doing performing at events and stuff since I was about 16.
16?
Yeah. So, but as far as throwing shows, I was kind of a couple years later. So yeah, maybe early 20s.
Early 20s. So, how was that, linking up with Fora and all that 805, 818 connection right there?
Well, the 818 and the 805 always had a really dope connection from, the Alcoholics and Loop Pack and, you know what I mean? We're neighbors, bro. It's right over the grade, so...
It's that 118 connection, which I tripped out on, man. I lived in North Hollywood for a little bit, and that's how I got familiar. Same thing I told Frankie, man. That's how I got familiar with the 805 because we would take that trip down the 118 and be right there in all the little towns right there. And I got familiarized with it, you know?
Yeah, everybody trying to come to the beaches, man. We right over the hill.
Yeah. And like I mentioned, one thing I noticed is out here in Bakersfield, there's a lot of talented people from that section, from the 805 over here, you know?
Oh, yeah.
And you were one of them. At first, I didn't know who it was during the event. And, I started seeing a shitload of locals tapping in. You know, Locus Luciano, T. Davis being some of them. It was the 420 Live people. Just a bunch of people started tapping in. I was like, this is different because I got used to going up to so many weed sessions. This one wasn't a weed sesh per se, but... it was more on the music, the music fest. And the thing that I liked about it is that you brought people that weren't too local.
Yeah.
They were some regional artists, some of them being Zeddy Vibes and whatnot, you know? So That's just dope, bro.
Yeah, I always keep the same formula when I throw shows. I like to like pad the lineup with a bunch of locals who's killing it in the town, but I also like to bring people from different cities and help people travel. Again, I've done this in 26 states in the U.S., so it's cool to be able to take people from Atlanta and bring them to Oxnard, or
Vice
Oxnard bring them to
versa.
Vegas, or you know what I mean. Like I've taken some Bakersfield artists to like Vegas and shit like that. So getting them their first little taste of traveling and stuff is really dope.
That tour life, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember the first tour you ever been on?
I've been on quite a few, especially on the artist tip. That's where I did like the majority of my traveling. But the first like official tour that I put together was with Self Provoked, Zelly Vibes, the homies from Platform Collection out of San Diego, and yeah, we just kind of covered Cali. We did like uh, L.A., the IE, Orange County, Vegas. We did San Diego, Oxnard, and so on and so forth. But yeah, we just kind of moved around.
And basically, on that, it's like you're a promoter slash manager
Mhm.
on the tour, right?
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
you need to promote and manage how you're gonna get there, book the motel room
Oh,
and
yeah.
whatnot. You know, the logistics of it.
Well, I was actually planning every event. So most tour promoters will sell packages to other promoters. So they'll be like, "Oh, we're going to LA. Let's get an LA promoter to handle the show." But I did every single show on the tour stop from scratch. So it was basically like me putting the money up, me booking the artist, me doing the
The
flyers,
footwork.
like everything. You know what I mean? So attacking a lot of markets that I hadn't even been to before. So I'm like, well, never been to San Bernardino. Let's see how this works. You know what I mean? And the response was fucking beautiful. So since then, it's just been all over the place.
Have you ever been surprised, like in a positive way, like how you just said, like
Oh yeah, yeah,
you know,
yeah.
you go somewhere and it's like, holy shit, this is a good turnout, better than expected.
You know, it's crazy. We don't realize the presence that we have on the internet and what kind of impact that makes in real life until we hit these cities. Like, I remember the first time I went up to like Santa Maria, and how many people stopped me wanting to take pictures or just kind of like just filling me in on stuff that I've done, being like, "Oh yeah, I seen when you did this. I seen when you did." I'm like, I didn't even realize
And you
like
forgot
I
about
had
it.
eyes over there. You know what I mean? Vegas the same. Like anytime I go to Vegas, like I have a very big following in Vegas, and I don't know how I got it, but I'll take it. You know what I
Hey,
mean? I
that's
love the
right.
support.
Speaking of Vegas, how many shows have you done out there?
hmm We used to do one at least once a year. We were working with this hotel called the Thunderbird Lounge, so they had a like a hotel and like a reception area. So we would do at least one or two shows there a year with the homegirls from Omni Models, homegirl Urena and Zelly Vibes and all them. And yeah, that place was just it was dope, man. Like they would give discounts to all the people coming from out of town so they could get rooms and stuff, and you know what I mean.
Yeah, I seen that you have the TCG models page too, and that was
Oh,
pretty
yeah.
dope, bro. Because the promoting was dope. I like that skateboard you had, you know, with the good cigar on that logo, bro. Who came up with that?
So the logo, the homie Pisto came up with that when we were in high school. He drew that on a piece of line paper, right? And it was
Yeah.
just like an idea. Like I found it years later, and I was like, "Yo, I can't let this go to waste." So I ended up doing all the graphic design work and like bringing it to life. But again, it was a pencil sketch on line paper from when
Still
we
had to
were.
vectorize it and get it
Mhm.
done and all that.
But that kind of created the concept. So all the other logos, like I'll do some, I'll have some of the homies do some. So there's always a bunch of different like styles for it. But we have a million cigar designs now. But it all started from one day we were just kicking it and fucking the homie just sketched some shit out with pencil.
And I like that one, bro, with the cigar just like
Mhm.
ripping itself open. You know, the guts of the cigar.
Yeah,
That's just
yeah.
hard, bro. Is there any advice that you'd end up giving to like let's say an independent artist that has never toured before, never
Mhm.
left state, never even left their own city, bro? Like if you know they got big aspiration, big dreams to fucking do something like this.
Mhm.
Like, is there any advice that you would give them, like as far as like how to manage a tour, how to set up dates, you know?
Trial and error, man. There is no manual for this shit. A lot of it is finding the formulas that work for you. But not only that work for you, but that work for your audience, the artists you work with, everybody within your circle. You have to have something that's viable for everybody to be able to, jump behind it. It's when people always ask like, how do you get support? How do you get, you know what I mean? You gotta give them something to support. Give them some
That
support
part.
worthy shit. But you're gonna learn everything, man. Like I've made a million mistakes doing this. I've shot myself in the foot more times than I can count. But it's really dope now that in the position that I'm in, aside from just throwing events, we have I like to say we provide tools for artists to be able to like bring their visions to life. You know what I mean? So if you need help, just with certain scenery or certain things that you're trying to add to your music videos, if you're trying to link with dope producers, studios, blah blah, like we have an endless amount of resources from the
I was
time.
about to say one thing that what I noticed about you is you guys have the resources from video editors, producers, promoters, all that shit, and that's what's pretty cool. You said you have like over a decade doing this shit. You are in tour 2016. What's the most memorable event that you had?
Most memorable event, man, I have so many fun like favorite moments. Memorable
Would it be like the first time that you ever had a sold out event, or one event that you booked an artist that you didn't think that you could land?
Yeah, yeah. I'd say just one that's really cool to me is Master Ace. This is a pioneer of hip hop. He was on tour in the West Coast, and I guess one of their dates fell out, and they were looking to fill the slot, and somebody referred him to me. But I just getting that random phone call from a pioneer, like for those who are unfamiliar, like Eminem mentioned Master Ace in that Kamikaze record. He's like, as one of his influences, like bring the Master Aces back. Like that's what kind of impact this guy had. He inspired some of the greatest artists in music. So to get that phone call from him and just like, hey, you want to work? And I won't like talk numbers, but like we came to some like unbelievable numbers, you know what I mean? And it was just off the fact that he was like, you get very, very good references and, people sending me
off of a good word of mouth?
Yeah, yeah. So
reputation?
There's a good lesson for everybody there. Your reputation, the way you carry yourself will bring you just as many opportunities as your resume. So make sure you guys,
carry yourself in the right way, make the right moves.
Mm-hmm. Like,
always have good intentions.
Yeah, you don't need to be perfect at what you do. As long as you're a solid cat, like people they'll sit down and eat with you.
Yeah, the last event that I've seen or that I went with you was the one at Rollerama, and I'm gonna end up mentioning it on air just because I was going through some tough ass times in my life, man, but I still pushed myself to print out a couple dozen hats and print out a couple shirts and show face. Even though I was going through some personal things, man. I ended up going to that show, and man, I ended up seeing a lot of people I never met before doing big things here in my community. I had to give a spotlight to it because she's doing big things. One of them was Ash. First time I ever seen her, bro, was her performing. Because there's a lot of people I had no idea about performing. The ones I didn't know about was Locus Luciano and T. Davis. Shout out to them. I recently seen Locus Luciano at a private event at a quinceañera. Before that, I haven't seen him in years. So it was real dope seeing him. Anyways, back to Flea Market Shorty. Now she's doing the vintage market out here in Bakersfield, bro. Like Bakersfield was stale for a while. Like there was nothing going on. So from keeping up with someone that I thought was gonna be rapping to her doing vintage things is pretty dope. Another one was Zelly Vibes. Yeah. And I didn't know too much about you, bro, but ever since then, I kept up with you as well, and I seen that you were tapped in with everybody. Like here in Bakersfield, out there in the 805, everywhere else too, bro. So holy shit. And then, during COVID, you're doing all your own interviews. So what you have going on right now is Med Talk. Tell us more about that.
So I've always done the interview things periodically, even, prior to COVID. We used to do the blunt ed interviews where I would literally just pull up on you, we'd smoke weed, sit down, throw the camera on, and just...
I wish you could do that shit right now, bro, but I'm in a place where I can't right now, you know the situation, but
yeah, so I've always been interested in just listening to people's stories and stuff, and then, like, during COVID especially, like, I throw events, like, having that whole, platform kind of taken from you, like, hey, sit down until, we good to go outside again. We had to keep the entertainment going, so I made it a point to start reaching out to people and just listening more than I spoke. So it wasn't just, artists. Like, I've interviewed professional boxers and business owners and even, like, college kids who are trying to figure out, what the fuck they want to do with their life. It was just, everybody has a story type of thing. And it was a hit, man. I've interviewed everybody from, like, Black Sea from RBL Posse, Ritz from Strange Music, Sophia Maria, who was like signed to MC Magic back in the day. Just too many people to count, but it was just more so inspiring. You know what I mean? Just hearing, what people have been through prior to the music, their upbringing, their struggles, I've had people break down and cry to me on the lives and stuff. So I'm like,
because people felt comfortable opening up to you and your platform.
Oh yeah,
and it's not like you have thousands of people. It's not like you had a nice studio. This was over the phone, like one-on-one conversations.
Just me and my phone. No mics, no nothing. It was just literally put the phone on and run it.
It was from the ground up, and that was one of the most inspiring parts. I get inspired by a lot of people, bro. You were one of them. You did it with a phone. And not only that, but from a phone, you were able to reach people from all heights, from all lows, from all different areas.
All over the world. I was interviewing people from the UK and shit. Like, crazy, bro.
And what you mentioned is that you had to learn to listen, bro. Same. In the beginning, I felt like, I'm super interested in this and that. Then I hear myself, I'm like, bro, I gotta shut the fuck up. I gotta learn to listen, I'm interviewing them.
Hey, same though. But the thing is, we're fans of ourselves as well. You're like, I do some really dope shit. I have some really dope gems to drop. And you know what I mean? You have a lot of stuff to contribute to conversation. So it's not a bad thing, but to fall back and like actually listen and just kind of let their story guide the conversation it was new to me. But it was so dope because like I've got to know people on so much deeper levels, and now I kind of understand them as far as their artistry goes or whatever it is they're doing in life.
That was an in-depth view that I liked because it showed a side that not a lot of people get comfortable with. Maybe like in front of cameras and all that. You might be comfortable speaking to someone one-on-one on the phone, which is what it was. There was some viewers that watched it live and then some that would come back later. But a lot of the all the conversations were genuine. It was an in-depth look into every artist from every different style.
Yeah. And it was, again, it was cool. And the point of even bringing it back was for that as well is just there's so many... there's so much more ground to cover on that. And plus, I have like a whole vault because Instagram went through this whole change where you used to not be able to save the lives.
Yeah.
Or you were only able to go up to an hour. And you know what I mean? They in the middle of me doing this during COVID is when they changed it. And they're like, oh, now you can have 4 people in the live at once. You can go up to 4 hours. You can. So a lot of the interviews I've done aren't even online anymore. They're saved in a vault. So I have them on like a hard drive, and I'm like, well, one day I'm going to have to pull these out and do something with them because I have over 200 interviews and some of the dopest conversations. So I kind of want to keep adding to that, but I want to transfer it to like a maybe all audio platform at some point, or you know what I mean? I've
had some people, because this would be considered my 30th episode, right?
Okay.
I've had, and then this would be my 3rd video. I did all audio. I feel like I got a shitload more views freaking finally doing video.
Oh, yeah.
But I felt much more comfortable doing audio. I feel like I got to watch my face, my mannerisms, and all that. I feel like everybody's a nitpick, whatever the fuck I do, And I'm not the best in front of the camera, bro. I'm camera shy for like a couple years. I did not even post any pictures of myself.
Yeah.
So like this is me breaking out my shell, trying something new, and I fuck with it, because it's a hobby that brings perspective, because I get to, how you say, you get to know people more better. Like I thought I already knew somebody, but then, you sit down on a conversation with them, like a deep one, and it's different because it's on a professional level. We keep in mind that a lot of people are going to be listening, so we carry ourselves in a different manner. And right there, I just feel like that's iron sharpening iron, on a professional level, which as friends or as colleagues, people need to do that with each other. People need to sharpen each other's skills instead of talking down on each other. Just level each other up.
Yeah. But that's also it's kind of a fault of society. We don't ever find ourselves in environments to have those conversations. When you're walking down the street, you might say hi to a stranger, but you never just like stop a stranger. Hey, what's your story? You know what I mean? Like until it gets brought up and there's a platform like this for them to be able to speak. You know what I mean? There's just that void there.
You'll never really know.
There's that void there. So shout out to all the platform providers, from podcasters, radio stations, people who give outlet for people to talk. Like, it's one thing to have events and all that where you're like, oh, display your talent. But, like, for them to tell their story, this is probably the most useful tool for society, because I think 99.9% of our problems could be fixed if motherfuckers just took the time and try to understand each other.
Yeah, that part. And if motherfuckers would also be willing to explain their story a little bit too, you know, because some people are like real closed off, and I completely understand that. Sometimes that's more of a defense mechanism, you know. But
well, you see it in the interviews too. Some people are very comfortable like being vulnerable. Some people just keep it very surface level. They want to stick to the hey, let's talk about the art. Let's not talk about my personal life. Let's, you know what I mean. But you start to see who's closed off and who's ready to peel back those layers with themselves, you know. And that's really dope too, because just to look at people, you're like, yo, when I was, you know, my early 20s, I felt the same way. I didn't want to sit there and be like, oh, well, when I grew up, I had, you know, like...
the best advice for everybody.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So it makes me hyped for them, because I'm like, yo, at some point you're going to cross that bridge and you're going to get to that point where you're like, cool, I want to tell my story for what it is. So shout out to vulnerability. It comes when it comes, you know?
It does, man. And, bro, doing this shit, I felt vulnerable as fuck, you know? Because I was not planning on doing this by myself, but at the same time, I'm already feeling like I'm getting some traction going that, to me, it was unexpected. And, it's, you know, when you get some unexpected support from, you know, some people that you supported before, too, or even people that you haven't supported before, bro, it's... it keeps you motivated.
Yeah.
You know, and sometimes motherfuckers need that. You know, sometimes you need motivation. You don't realize how much you improved until you see the support come in.
Yeah.
You know?
One thing I do want to tip my hat to you on, bro, is the Kenny Thunder interview.
That's crazy, bro. I felt like he needed a redeeming voice.
See, that was the thing, is I had just watched that podcast he did, and I won't shout out the platform, but it was very one-sided. Like, they invited him to shut him down. You know what I mean? Like, let me be the guy to check him on. You know what I mean?
And then that just went bad on that.
Yeah. So instead of taking the time to really get to know him, they sat there and they just fucking sized him up the whole time. So for you to come back and give him a platform to, like, this is what it is. This is what I have to offer. This is who I am. It really gave him more depth to who he is. And you know what I mean? And you start to see which platforms are actually useful. So, like, you really are doing something special here.
Yeah. You know, and I don't regret doing that. But fuck, it was moving the way that I didn't think he'd be moving, you know? So I'm like, God damn it, Kenny. Neta way. He pissed me off. Like, bro, I told you, stay focused on your book, and that's it. That's the best. You ain't want to listen, bro. You want to get involved in some other nonsense. Look at it now, bro. And you know, I gave you the chance to redeem yourself, and you do. You have it. You know, any info on his book is on this one. You know, which is, I felt like they took it out of context on him at first. I felt bad. I was like, damn, bro. He went there to go share his story on his book, and they were just supposed to. They just flipped the narrative on him, you know. But I was like, you know what, bro? I'll give you a chance, and we'll stick to the book.
Shock value, bro. Straight, a lot of these platforms are there for shock value, and don't get me wrong. Like, I like that stuff too. I like the
I personally want to steer clear from it, bro. I don't want no smoke, no controversy, none of that shit. I just want to stick some professionalism. Only do people that are doing something good, you know, something here in the community. You know? Yeah. I don't want to stir the pot, bro. I don't want no smoke. You
know, it's crazy. I did one interview, right? That I got a response like that from him, and I honestly scrapped the interview. It wasn't even an interview. It was a open conversation between. We were talking about the taboos behind sex, right? You know, just how people feel about OnlyFans, how people feel about, I don't know, certain topics related to. So I had 2 guys, 2 girls. I'm like, cool. We're gonna get male, female perspectives. The female started fighting in the interview, like just arguing, going back and forth, completely like changed the trajectory of the fucking episode. And I was like, bro, it was entertaining for people because they're like, we like this shit. We like Bad Girls Club and
I was gonna say, bro, I did have an experience like that myself. You know, where we had people call in, and I thought it was just gonna be pranks and all that shit. Nah, bro, they were outing motherfuckers out on some Kendrick Lamar type shit. I was like, holy fuck. And I was like, God damn, I was not expecting that. I thought it was just going to be some cool, clean footage.
Yeah, bro.
No, they were exposing motherfuckers. I'm like, God damn, bro.
See, one thing I don't like, and I'm going to just go ahead and condemn this shit now, is I don't like when people don't know when to take off that cape. You know what I mean? A lot of rappers, like, they throw on the rapper cape when they're in the public eye, and they're like, this is my image, this is what I want to
This
be.
is my persona.
So you don't get to see the real them on camera. As soon as that camera turns on, they're like, yo, 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 fucking blah, blah, blah. But, like, in real life, they're genuine people. So, like, sometimes
they laugh, they cry, they get mad, and all that shit too.
But they're like, my image is the tough, strong, blunt, say what I want, don't give a fuck type. And to be honest, like, you need to know when to take off that fucking cape, bro. Like, sometimes, again, like, if we're having an honest conversation like this, there's no reason to puff your chest out and fuck this person, fuck that person. Like, bro, go do that on your own time. Like, you know what we're here for. And so, yeah, that's a good lesson for young artists, is just know when to be a human and know when to be a rapper. You know what I mean?
Know how to keep it professional. And
yeah.
Say, you know, like, turn that street stuff down if you're trying to be professional, if you're trying to be something.
Unless that's, like, who you are all the time, then I respect it. But there's some people you're like, bro, I just talked to you the other day, and you're just, you know, you're like, I take care of my sick grandma on my free time. You know,
I volunteer and I do this. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's actually cool, you know? Like,
that's what I'm saying. Like
if anything, you should show off that you do cool things throughout your community.
That's more relatable. That's more relatable than this image you're trying to push. Like, but yeah, so that's probably one of the downsides of being in a position that I'm in, is I have a lot more access to people, to where I get to know them on you know what I mean?
On a personal level.
I've been to their homes. I know them by first name.
Their environments, their upbringing.
You know, and a lot of people, they only get like the I see them at show, you know, vibe. So I see how they carry themselves.
Or I only see them on the internet.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
So getting to know people personally is it's like a gift and a curse, because it's like, it's really dope to have that access, but sometimes it's like, damn, bro. Like,
sometimes it does suck too, though, when they say don't meet your heroes. Huh?
Oh, facts.
I've had that happen a couple times, bro, and it sucks, but at the same time, it's an eye opener, because it's like, everybody is human. A lot of people, you'd be surprised, you know, and not to put anyone down, you think would be like super huge and this and that. They're just as human as the next person.
Well, that's the crazy part, is I've worked with a bunch of big names, and they don't act like that. It's usually up and coming artists that's like, you know, they're still trying to find that.
They got the ego and kind of like almost entitlement. Ego and entitlement. You know, feel like they've done enough already, that they should do this and that. But, I mean, I feel that with myself with my clothing brand. I got 10 years pushing it, bro. I still don't have a website, none of that. But that's my own fault. You know?
Here's the thing: there's no such thing as almost made it. You know what I mean? It don't matter if you're out here in Bakersfield doing more than everybody in Bakersfield. You're still not to that point where you want to be, or what you're aiming for. So you're still at the same level as somebody who just dropped their first mixtape, or just dropped their first shirt design, or just, you know what I mean? There's no hierarchy within the city, as much as people like to say that there is. You know, they like to, you know, rebook the same artist or redo the same. You know what I mean? You're like, oh, so-and-so's killing it right now, so they have to be involved in everything. And, like, that's fine. But once that artist starts feeling like, I am my city, like, I'm not part of my city, is where they got shit fucked up. You know what I mean?
You're green, you're growing, you're right, and you're right.
Yeah, because I'm telling you, I've sat down with some of the biggest fucking names, and they normal. They normal people. Like, they just get it. They're like, yo, at home.
And almost in an ironic sense, it's like the most humblest are the ones that make it further.
Oh, true.
You know, just how you said earlier, the way you carry yourself makes a big impact.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if some people want to be all cocky,
yeah,
I mean, it gets reciprocated. You know.
Mm-hmm. Like, use the ego to get your confidence to where it needs to be, but don't use your ego to talk to people. Don't talk to people with an ego. That's the best.
And it's a thin line, because sometimes you need to remind yourself that you are that person. The other day I had a mistake that somebody asked me what I do. Mm-hmm. I don't know why, bro. I told them nothing. They asked me, what do I do? I said nothing, bro. In reality, I fucked up. I could have told them, like, oh, you know, I used to bartend, you know, do some media, do this, do that, bro. Like, I literally do have a long list of shit I could say, but I thought I was being humble telling them nothing, bro. I realized I kind of might have come off arrogant.
Yeah.
You know, because they could easily go through my page and see that I've done shit, you know, like whether it be community events or fucking cannabis events, whatever the fuck. You know? And sometimes, you know, we think like, oh, kind of not exactly telling people what it is that we do, like that's keeping it humble. It might come off as arrogant, because they might want to give you a position that you just might know how to handle it.
You know, that's also a good point, is you never really know who you're talking to.
Yeah, bro.
You want to hear a
Tell me
funny?
about it.
Want to hear a funny story? Is okay. So there was an artist that came to a show one time, and he wasn't performing. He was just chilling at the bar, right? Well, I recognize him, so I go up and I'm like, "Oh, yo, I know you. Good to meet you." Blah blah. Homie sitting in like a bar stool, and he kind of fucking spun his chair around. He's like, "You don't know me." Oh, and when he did that, he kind of bumped me, right? And I kind of fell back, and before I could like even react to it, another artist came running up, and he's like, "Yo, Jeffy," and he fucking threw his arms around me. He's like, "Fucking thank you. This night was fucking dope. You fucking threw a dope show, la la la." And homie heard that and was like, "Oh fuck, like."
Oh shit, you're Jeffy?
You're who I'm supposed to be talking to, but I didn't, so he turns around and he's like,
you didn't pull that. Do you know who I am?
Yeah, but he's like,
thing too.
"Yo, I'm so sorry, fucking blah, blah, everything cool." And I'm like, yeah. But in my head, I took a note. I was like, "You're the type of person I don't want to work with, because if this is how you treat your fans, you thought I was a fan at first. You thought I was just somebody coming up like, 'Can I get a picture with you?' Like, you didn't realize who I was, or like, again, that's the whole Gutted Cigar thing. The logo is a lot more popular than I am. There's people who rep the brand that don't know who's behind it. You know what I mean? So when people come out to shows,
I'm starting to realize that about myself and my brand too.
Yeah.
People don't realize. I'm like, bro, my fucking info's on the bio.
Mm-hmm.
How the fuck you that? Like, you're a union, bro. What the fuck? Yeah.
But it's also cool to know that you built a brand that's standalone. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of people will support something because they know who's behind it. But when you have a brand that's just, this is what it is, and like, that's very, very organic support.
Yeah, because vice versa. I've gone to weed sessions in LA, and I've had people say, "Hey, what's up, Union?" I'm like, "Union?" Like, I'm catching. But I've noticed there's somebody following my page that never followed my personal page. If they know me as Union, I'm like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah.
Have you ever had somebody call you something like that? Like,
hey,
oh yeah, what a gutted or some shit like that.
They'll refer to me as the Gutted Cigar, and I'm like, so the Gutted Cigar is technically an umbrella term for everybody who helps us do this shit. So there's also other like crews and cliques and people that are they're just as important to the shit as I am. You know what I mean? Like, shout out to the homies at ASR, IRE Apparel, Laugh Mob, everybody who kind of tosses into that hat.
I've been seeing Clean. I've been seeing Clean for a while. I've never met him, but
he's out here.
Bro, as a clothing brand, bro, I've seen him for a while. He's out of Oxnard, and I've seen
he's local now though. He's
CD compilations.
He's in Bakersfield now.
See, that's crazy, bro. A lot of people from Oxnard, talented people from the 805 are out here.
Yeah. So that's the cool thing about Bakersfield is I used to come out here because I was into the graffiti shit growing up. So I used to come out here in high school and like paint your guys' freeways and shit. But you guys were still building. Like there was a lot out here, but there wasn't much out here. It definitely ain't what it is now. So just the fact that all this development is going on and it's kind of giving people a reason to start looking out this way. Plus the cost of living, all that good stuff. But just the development. A lot of people, because you can't see it all from the freeway. When you pass through, just take the 5 or the 99, you might see a little bit of the town, but it doesn't look like too much. You don't realize...
Everybody just thinks it's the fields. They don't realize how spread out it is.
You don't realize there's big buildings downtown. You don't realize there's, like the east side is... That shit reminds me of Oxnard, bro.
The east side itself could be its own damn city.
I fucking love the east side, bro. I love the east side. I love the fucking Mercado Latino and, you know what I mean? Everything going on over there.
Bro. Mercado Latino was one of the first spots I had my hats at, bro. I need to mention that because there was a lady right there that sold a lot of Boulevard clothing. You remember Boulevard brand? I believe that was a Soldier Boy thing. And then, what was that? Last Kings.
Kings, okay.
You know, freaking T-Rail and all that. Bro, I one of my dreams was to have my clothing like right beside them. Man. One of the first spots I was able to do that was at the Mercado Latino.
All right.
So... Bro, from swap meets to Mercado Latino to like events, music events, car shows and shit like that, bro. It's all part of the culture that comes together, So for lack of better terms, the Gutted Cigar is like a promotion company / event, right?
We're a presence, bro. Like I said, we have so many useful tools and stuff to help people. So aside from just throwing the shows, I like to think I'm the middleman for a lot of shit.
For a lot of resources, bro. Definitely resourceful.
I have a lot of like stories like this, like are you familiar with like Yellow Hill?
Of course, bro. I feel like a fanboy right now because I feel like I was bumping this shit last year. I feel like last year no one was bumping him.
You
But
know,
like last year, I was bumping him, and I was tuning in to some of the songs posted up on my Facebook. Bro.
so
Nobody liking it.
I was able to introduce Yellow Hill and Conejo.
Oh,
They're both from West LA.
shout out Conejo.
Trip out that it wasn't until Oxnard that they got to finally meet each other, and you know what I mean, like. But a lot of shit like that. There's a lot of collaborations that have happened because I got people in the same room. There's a lot of like, you know what I mean, dope things that have stemmed just from the simple fact that we're like, hey, bro, pull up, get y'all in the same room.
That was a Fresh Mix show, right?
Mm-hmm.
Bro, what's so crazy is I've met Conejo through Oxnard Pugs. To be honest, first time was at La Movida.
Okay.
At La Movida, and then after that, he invited us to Airbnb in Tehachapi, a cabin.
Okay.
You know? And then he ended up doing the tax collector. But I used to be a little kid, bro. Grew up in a small little ghetto town, full of gangsters, bro. You know, you imitate what the fuck you grow around, and everybody used to bump Conejo. I used to see this with CDs in the swap meets.
Yeah.
You know, from seeing that and then hearing that he's on the run, and then he gets caught, and then doing shows at La Movida and Oxnard, and then he doing a movie with Shia LaBeouf. Like, bro, that shit's crazy. Like, that's another cool thing too when you get to meet artists and they are humble despite their crazy ass experiences.
You know, it's
Conejo
crazy.
being one of them.
The first time I met Conejo was actually through the homie D Tragic.
D Tragic, shout out to him.
I put together a little fundraiser for an artist who passed away in the 805, right? And they pulled up, and me and Conejo were just, you know, hitting up. Me and him have been talking about getting shows and shit going for a minute, so this is the first time we actually, like, you know,
did it.
Well, we were just in person, just kind of, like, talking about the moves, right? Next thing you know, we're just sitting in his whip. He's showing me the new album, the album that just came out not too long ago. But this is maybe, like, a year or two before it dropped, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he's showing me all these records with, like, Be Real, and, you know, he had, like, the drummer from Alien Ant Farm, and, you know what I mean? All kinds of, like, dope shit, but I'm getting to hear the stories behind it and, you know, where he was mentally when this song came about. And it was just, like, again, when I was saying having that access to artists that most people just don't have, it's like, bro, who's going to get the opportunity to just sit in homie's whip and bump the album fucking a year before it comes out?
Yeah, no, those one-on-one conversations or even those leaks that they hand you, because I've gotten access to people shooting me their songs, you know, or even content before it's released.
Yeah.
You know, for my opinion, you know, and that's just even dope, bro. When the artists that you grew up bumping are like, hey, here, you know, tell me what you think about it. And it's some fucking fire. You know? Or when you get to fucking actually step in the studio with them and see them at work.
Yeah.
It's even dope.
And shit.
You know? Like, right now that we're talking about Conejo, bro, he has a contest going on with Nate No Face. And Nate, it was another dude that I met on a separate occasion right here in town.
Dope.
They're doing a contest together to make beats. I don't even know how to make beats, but just because I made them both and I like Nate's style of music, I'm like, bro, I'm going to fuck around. I'm going to do some Tyler the Creator type shit right now, you know?
There you go.
Fuck around with it. Is there any artist that you want to work with currently right now?
Young or like established? Both.
Because, you know, that's good that you brought it up because there is a lot of upcoming artists and there's a lot of legends.
When it comes to young artists, I want to work with them all. You know, one of my favorite things to do is to put artists on with their very first show. Because no matter where they take this shit afterwards, they're always going to remember that first time. They may not have a shitload of people come out to see them, but they always remember that first experience.
That's with anything, man. Anytime anybody gives you an opportunity, man.
You know what I love?
With your passion, it's dope.
First and foremost, happy Mother's Day weekend, all the moms out there.
Happy Mother's Day.
But one thing I like, too, is that when an artist comes out for their first show, they tend to bring the whole fam. So I get to meet their mom, and their moms will be like, thank you so much for giving my son this opportunity. And you know what I mean? Like, those talks are so dope. Because I'm like, I didn't do it. They did it. Like, they put the work in. Like, but getting to see, like, their family's faces light up as they get their first. And, you know, I've had artists who've passed away, and their family will still remember, like, you gave them the first show. And the family's still connected to me through the fact that I supported their, you know.
You supported them all their life, their career, you know, their movement.
But as far as established artists, I would really like to work with Dot Demo out of New York. I like that whole new New York movement. So Dot Demo would be dope. I do like all the like Puya and a lot more of that rowdier shit.
I've heard or I've seen that he's made it downtown to Jerry's. Have you had any events right here at Jerry's Pizza?
Yeah, and the first event I did at Jerry's was probably like 2012.
2012.
I was still a kid. It was nothing but like local artists and stuff. But yeah, that was Bakersfield was one of the first out of the 805 shows that I did when I was just getting into this.
Yeah, another promoter I want to interview is Tommy.
Mm,
I haven't really met him. We've seen each other a lot, bro. Like
yeah,
we know
yeah.
each other's faces, and I ended up pulling up to a smoke shop a couple of times. Like we've had short conversations, but we never actually like kicked it, bro. But
Hmm.
I know he's very impactful out here.
Yeah, yeah.
As far as having shows.
You know, there's a lot of there's a shit. There's like even like the radio stations. The radio stations are hella supportive. Like shout out to 94.1. They always give fucking local artists radio time out here and platforms to do their interviews and stuff like that. Bakersfield, I think a lot of people here probably not might not see it, but you have a lot more tools and like just resources available than a lot of places do. Like just for the sake of that radio reference, I was actually in the radio station with Rico and Mambo when they apologized to Anderson Pack for kind of sleeping on him until he got big, and they were like, "Yo, like you've reached out for interviews and stuff, and we just kind of put it off, and now here you are signed with Dr. Dre, and so since then they started the local Fridays and the what I mean. Now they have people coming on and doing all of that. But I was actually in the station when they were like, "Damn, bro, we were sleeping on that whole element."
Sometimes that's what it takes, man. Sometimes people's egos need to get shattered like that. You
Well,
know,
you
well, I
never know.
wouldn't say shattered, but you know.
But like you think about all the dope artists coming out of Bakersfield. Again, the Locust Lucianos, Chuck. I know they're not from here, but they're
Stephanie
out here now.
Solis.
Yeah, Stephanie Soul. You have fucking again the Oxnard Pugs and Ramo and fucking Slim Saucy and fucking. There's just too many fucking artists to name out here.
I was gonna say that's another thing we need to address too. There's a lot of artists out here that are not from out here,
Hmm.
but they're out here.
Yeah.
They're from surrounding areas. A lot of them 805 and all that.
Just transplants.
Yeah, transplants. You know, and that's a good thing right now, bro, because for a couple of years there's been a scene brewing out here. Like there's a lot of people that love to talk shit about Bakersfield that there's nothing going on. There is a lot going on, and there has been for a lot of years. A lot of people are not involved, so you wouldn't know.
Yeah. Well, one thing is cool is we were talking about like the Rollerama event. When I put it out there that I was doing that, I had at least 200 artists reach out from Bakersfield. Like,
Yeah, it was a full house.
but like artists that I've never heard of that just, you know what I mean? Like there's only so many shows out here and so many venues and so many platforms to where a lot of these people just they're kind of left in the dark, bro. There's a lot more artists than there are opportunity. You know what I mean? But now that again, when I was talking about like the development in Bakersfield and it building now that's starting to get a little more widespread, to where these artists are, you're starting to see more shows with new names on it and stuff like that. But this is out of all the shows I've ever done, when I do shows in Bakersfield, that's where I get the biggest response from people wanting to participate, which is fucking crazy to me. Because I could do shows in my hometown, maybe I'll get 20 people to reach out, like, "Hey, I'm trying to get involved. I'm trying to get involved." But like 200 plus, that's off
yeah, you
one
gotta
show in
know where you're
Bakersfield.
celebrated.
Yeah, and I'll be honest, those the field trip events were really dope. Like the promotion was crazy. A lot of people would get involved. I got fined by the city of Bakersfield for promotion.
What the fuck?
That was the first
How does
time.
that happen?
So KV Prince, right
Yeah.
on Brundage.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when they seen us promoting the first field trip, they were like, "Yo, this is dope. We want to sponsor it." They were like, "Well, if you let us throw our flyer or logo on there, we'll print all your flyers for you." So they donated like 2,000-3,000 flyers. And I just flooded the city, bro. I fucking went downtown. I went everywhere, bro. Wherever I could fucking put a flyer up, I did that shit. And next thing you know, fucking the city of Bakersfield caught me for littering, bro.
Littering.
I got a $500 fine for that.
Okay,
So
that's not too bad.
shout out to the city of Baker. That was one of my first big Bakersfield shows, and
How did that feel, bro? Were you bummed out or were you proud? Because I know sometimes people, let's say they get a cease and desist.
Mhm.
Some people take it like as a pride of strength, like hell yeah,
Oh, no,
like they
I
did
kept-
something good.
I kept that letter, bro. It's a funny story for me. So I'm like, yeah, I kept the fine.
Hey, it's a cost to be a boss.
Oh, I know, especially because that's basically what I would have ended up spending on the amount of those flyers because they were really high quality flyers, like small, big poster sizes, fucking more like business card sizes. Like there was a shitload of them. So for what I got, and what I got fined for is basically what I would have spent on it anyway. So
Yeah.
I wasn't really tripping. Plus, it's a funny story to tell.
Yeah, no, that's dope. I would say, so what do you think is like the most best way to do advertising? Would it be like posters around the city, flyers, or would it be like over the internet?
It depends on your market. A lot of people can do it strictly off social media, but I still believe in hand to hand promotion, like giving somebody something that they can go home with, or you know what I mean. Like it just always kind of it helps. One thing I would love to see people do is more footwork, like getting out there and hanging up flyers and stuff.
Like
And
street teams aren't really a thing no more, which sucks because it's like back then, if you wanted to be a promoter, you start off at the street team.
yeah, yeah,
You know?
yeah. Like, and that's the good thing. Like, I'm 33 now, so I'm from the era where we used to pass shit out. I remember
Yeah.
even like as a young artist, like we didn't really have, like I think MySpace was just taking off, but we didn't really have the internet available. So even like printing your music, like a lot of these kids don't know what it's like to have to burn a CD and hand it out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Pass
So
out demo tapes.
I used to do that on the bus.
Try to sell them too.
When I was in high school, I would like make a song and it would just be singles and I'd print CDs. Boom, boom. I'd get on the bus the next morning and I hand them out on the bus. Like, so I got my name out there as oh, he's rapping and just involved, like really, really young. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Again, school bus shit, bro.
So, like some of your very first ones you said was with the dude from On the High Note. I had a fucking freaking Self Provoked, bro. Freaking was with Self Provoked, and then damn, my bad, bro. Freaking had a hard time coming up with the question. All right, so it was with Self Provoked. Have you kept up with him lately?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what's the last show you guys did together?
Before COVID. But that's my fucking dog, bro. Me and that fool have been all over the place. We've fucking been all over the place together. We've done.
I seen he's done a lot of tours, man. Someone out of the valley, the 818.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and that shit was dope, man. When I seen that he was coming to Bakersfield, man, I had to see him, bro.
You know what's crazy is the first show we did together. It was like he was young, bro. I think he had just dropped a Silly Rabbit video.
I wanted to say that, bro, but I felt like I was gonna get it wrong. I was like, no, that's not the name of the song.
It's like before that song even took off. Like this song has got millions of views now, but at the time, he was pulling a couple hundred, couple thousand maybe. Again, I booked him for a show just off a recommendation. Somebody hit me up and they're like, "Yo, the homie Self is trying to do stuff in the 805, and can you help him out?" And I'm like, "Yeah, for sure." So I ended up booking him, but again, he was green, bro. He was green. He was a baby, bro. Like, just getting started.
Like 18, huh? He was young, bro. I remember him, Wino, fucking Thesis, you know? And that, to me, that shit was fucking dope. King Lil G was just coming up with his mixtape, too. And he just completely flipped the style.
So, do you remember the Cypher Effect?
Yeah.
So, I was on the first season of the Cypher Effect. So I was kind of lumped in with all of those artists that were, you know, again, the On the High Notes, the, you know, what Fora and his team were doing. Just everybody in that circle. So when JDS started reaching out, like the Gutted Cigar was already in that hat. So we started as like a rap crew before like the throwing shows and stuff. So that was also a big plus is when I started throwing shows, I already had relationships with a lot of the artists.
I was to say, fuck, I forgot the name of that promoter at the time. He was also rapping himself. The dude was young. I'd say it's almost like 818 in the name, but he was doing it big for a while. He's the one that ended up having the show out here. That Self-Provoked one. I believe he's the one that ended up bringing Lil G out here too, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, bro. This and that's the cool thing about Southern Cali is we have so many different pockets of little scenes. All the promoters are in contact.
Yeah.
So like,
you know, like not only are they in contact, but like all the fucking little cities that they get to go to, it's all interconnected.
Yeah, we all help each other out. Like tonight, the homies from Platform Collection will actually be out here off the rails. But they're
shout out Off the Rails, man. They've been having a lot of dope ass events, especially with the Fun Freaks.
Yeah. And those are the people, Platform Collection, those are the people you need to get in contact with if you're ever in SD. Not only are they involved in all the big shows to some degree, but they run it's like a platform of podcasts, like 2Max Hologram Radio. They have the Crappy Awesome, Failing Forward. Like they have a bunch of different shows under their thing. And the homie Parker Edison just sold his show to um, PBS.
No way.
Yeah, so his show started as a podcast, and now they're on fucking
They're on
PBS. Fucking
PBS. Yeah.
yeah, and he's doing the same thing, interviewing artists and like getting down to the fucking nitty gritty of it. And it all just started with some mics and
Yeah,
closed
no,
doors.
that's dope, bro. Especially that you brought up PBS, because, bro, I grew up without cable. I grew up fucking watching Hugh Hausner. That's incredible. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Going town to town, going to the smallest towns, bro. You know, he even came out here to Bakersfield.
Yeah.
I felt like that was a highlight, the biggest highlight. Somebody mentioned our little town, and it was Hugh Hausner. And, so that was with the vlogging, bro, and also how they say, we're brought to you in part by donations by viewers like you. Eventually, I'm gonna start being like that, bro, because I don't have a lot of viewers like that, bro. But I appreciate the fuck out of everybody that does tap in,
Yeah.
Because I feel like it's only the ones that matter that count, Like, there's a lot of people that I feel like get too easily discouraged,
Oh, for sure.
And
sure.
Sometimes I feel like if you have homies that are rappers or whatever, it don't cost nothing to encourage nothing. But if you're a rapper, don't get it twisted. Don't consider support as people being fans.
Yeah.
Because I've seen people do that mistake. It's like, bro, I'm showing you support because you're one of my locals. You're one of my peers. I met you. I'm showing you support, my boy. I'm not a geeked out, fanned out dude.
Yeah.
Once you treat me like that, all support I had for you, I had to cut it, bro, because you got it twisted.
I said it earlier. Use the ego to fuel your confidence, but don't speak to people with an ego, because that's a very easy way to get a door slammed in your face. You know what I mean?
And out of the kindest people too that had nothing but good intentions, man. Because I've seen that happen. And I feel like I might have fucking mistakenly, unknowingly done that shit to some people. Just someone genuinely asked me what I do, and me thinking I'm keeping it humble, be like nothing. It's like fuck, bro. I should have said. There was a lot I could have said.
Don't fall for your own hype, bro.
Yeah, don't ever sell yourself short. And don't ever think you're too better for anybody. If somebody's showing you support, don't get it twisted and feel like, oh, that support's always gonna be there.
Yeah.
Or think that you could treat them like a fan, and like it's gonna be cool because some support is genuine.
So, like speaking on my personal experiences, I kind of went through it all, and I went through all the stages. So you ever get to a point where like you've been doing this long enough, so when somebody says something, you can tell what stage they're in. You know what I mean? It's like, as an artist, you're like, I'm going to start rapping. I'm going to be fucking famous by tomorrow. Then you're like, a couple weeks later, you're like, you know what? I just got to make it work. And then a year down the road, you're like, am I at a dead end? And then you fucking bounce back. And you just have all these like different stages. So sometimes when people talk, I'm like, you're about you're about 2 years in, bro. I could tell where you're at just based off how you're responding, or some of the I see it on social media when people post certain things and they're just like, don't, you support Drake, but you don't support me, blah, 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 blah. Like, that person is at home going through it right now.
Yeah.
As much as they want to be like, no, I'm just on the internet expressing my feelings. Like, no, you are at home in your head going, fuck, how come these people this? How come, like, you're mad? Before you jumped on here and posted that, you had a whole meltdown. And
beforehand,
and I know because I've been there. I've been that guy. You know what I mean? Like, we all go through the motions. We all go through the same shit. That's why I said there's no such thing as almost made it, because I guarantee you every artist that you probably have on your fucking social media feed has been at that point at some point,
Yeah. We got about a couple minutes left, man. 10 minutes left. Is there? We're gonna start wrapping it up. Is there any advice that you'd like to give to any up and coming entrepreneurs, like as far as event organizers?
Yeah, lead with love, bro. Lead with love in your product, in your services, and how you treat people. Always move with good intentions. Again, you might not see the, progression in real time, but when it hits, it really hits. I've been doing this shit for over a decade. I didn't feel like it started to really click and make sense, regardless of the opportunities I was getting, until I hit that 10-year mark. So don't quit on yourself, but just remember why you started this shit. Have fun with it. Have fun with every aspect of it, not just creating the art, but into your marketing, where you're displaying this stuff, how you're going about it. Just move with love. That is the easiest and most genuine form of marketing ever. You don't have to do too much. You don't have to do too little. Just find your balance and keep the fucking wheels rolling, man. There's a reason you did this, and I'm fucking proud of you. So,
that part. What about any shout-outs? Is there any shout-outs you'd like to give at anybody?
Shout out to all the moms again. Happy Mother's Day
Mother's
weekend.
Day weekend.
I don't know when this will be out, but shout out to all the moms. We love you, fucking life makers. Shout out to everybody within their respected scenes who are helping keep shit afloat, opening doors for artists, giving people, platforms like this to tell their stories and things like that. Shout out to yourself, bro.
Thank you.
Shout out to the city of Bakersfield. Shout out to the 805, California in general. Worldwide, wide world, man. Shout out to the hip hop world, the creatives, and everybody fucking chasing their dreams. Don't fucking quit on yourself. Don't be a fucking little punani.
Stay encouraged, goddammit. I'm gonna hit you sideways with this one. I need your top 3 upcoming artists.
Top 3 upcoming artists. Shit, that's a hard one, bro. This cat's killing it. In the 805, Bakersfield.
In
general. Shout out to Cam the Guapo. This is a young artist from Santa Paula. I see him making a lot of dope fucking moves. Shout out to Slump Boys. Again, they're really, really fucking bringing a new sense of G-Funk back, which I fuck with. And another top 3rd. I'll pick a Baker's one. Shout out to the homie Chuck, bro.
Chuck, I've been seeing him doing a lot of local events too.
And everything he's doing with Bars on Wheels is fucking dope,
Bars on Wheels, bro.
Fucking dope.
Damn, fucking bringing some hip hop back and shit,
Yeah, but also shout out to the homie. Shout out to Ultra State Refinery, Irie Apparel, Laugh Mob.
Med Talk.
Shout out to everybody who fucking helps us keep this shit going. Shout out to Genesis. That's like my program director and fucking helps me do all the lives and shit. Shout out to everybody. Fucking love y'all.
All right, and if it is somebody's first time seeing this, where could they tap in with you at?
All social media is at Jeffy Obvious or at the Gutted Cigar. Just look for the fucking long hair white dude with glasses. We out here.
We out here, man. I'm gonna end up wrapping it up. Shout out Union Label. Gotta do this.
Hey.
Shout out to Killer Cali Melts and to Bakersfield Combat Promotions, man. I'm about to see the MMA fights next week, man. So let's get it. Oh, yeah.
There you go.
Thank you guys for tapping in, my boy. I appreciate you, man. Hell yeah.
You as well.